I'm going to take you through some of the information that we are going to be launching really soon with our product that allows us to integrate with Microsoft Teams. And I think the COVID-19 pandemic has driven more change in the use of technology than I can ever remember. And the short timescale that businesses had to implement change meant that Microsoft Teams was a really easy tool for them to adopt. We certainly did that at Pragma. Although we were already using it, we embraced it and had to use it a lot more extensively than we had been before. And actually, the statistics from Microsoft speak volumes. So back in November 2019, there was a report that an average of 20 million daily active users were using Microsoft Teams. So DAUs is the statistic that they use. By the 19th of March, that had grown to 44 million. And then by the 4th of May, it soared to 75 million daily active users. So I think it just goes to show the rapid adoption in the number of people that were using Microsoft Teams because of the ease of access. Now, we know that Microsoft can provide licensing for Teams that can enable it to be used as the primary communications tool, and they're really keen for their customers to do that. But it isn't any surprise really that customers are asking how they can align it into their enterprise communications platform. So our answer to this question is the idea that I'm delighted to share today, which is iPECS2Teams. So just in its base format, iPECS2Teams is middleware that allows us to sort of bridge the gap between Microsoft Teams and iPECS Cloud. So it means that our Teams client is an extension of the cloud platform for voice calls. It's configured through the manager portal in the same way that any other extension is on the cloud platform. And it includes features such as call recording, which I can hopefully sort of see as a massive advantage for people, and also analytics. So any of the calls that the end users make and receive from Teams would then be reported in iCall Suite as well. But the collaboration features of Teams remain part of the native sort of Microsoft environment, really. So we're really sort of bridging the gap so that the voice communication can become part of our world. So I'm going to risk life and limb in this section and try to give you a live demonstration of iPECS2Teams. But before I just launch into that, I'm not really sure how familiar you all are with Teams, but I've been using it extensively, as I said, over the last few weeks. And I've been using it as a Teams client bridged into the cloud platform using iPECS2Teams. And it's given me a real insight into the experience that a customer might have when using it. So really, Microsoft are well known for launching products that have reached their minimum viable product state. So it's ready to go to market. It's not perfect, but they get it out there. And we all put up with the bugs and things that aren't quite right about it, and they perfect it over time. So don't get me wrong, there's great things about Teams. There are things that have made our world really easy at the moment, but there's also quite a few limitations. I think if you start to think about how customers would engage and use the product, it helps you to see how the different devices and applications that we can provide through iPECS Cloud means that we can mix and match the right endpoint for the right kind of user, and it will be a much richer solution that we can offer the customer. So let's take a look. I'm just going to try and share my Microsoft Teams for you. So for those of you that are familiar with Teams, you should be familiar with this screen here. So this is my live client. I can go into the calls button here. I've got a dial pad and it's got a telephone number associated to it because mine is already enabled with a voice license. It's part of our cloud platform, as already said. So here's one of the things that I've found already, in that there is no way for me to be able to say how I want my contacts from Outlook to be synchronized into Microsoft Teams. It kind of happens automatically in the background, and at the moment there isn't any specific ways of being able to say which data, which information that you want to pick up. And in fact, if I look at the details that I've got on the screen here, we've got all these gobbledygook kind of numbers up here. These are people that in my Outlook contacts actually exist against a name, a first name, a last name, and a company name. And it's just kind of picked them up and put this kind of jargon in here that I have absolutely no idea what these people are. I've gone into the contacts, I've tried to change it, I've tried to manage it. You can also see that some of the users are just listed by their email address and some are listed by their name. There's no rhyme or reason to how this is picking this information up. So immediately, if I was wanting to use this as my primary communications tool, I'm going to have to fight with this as the means of us being able to do that. But what I can do is I can search for anyone within here that I can find by name. I also then can right click and I can make a call. So that's now going to make a call from the Teams client through here, and it's come through to my mobile, which now I've answered. Has also now given me the ability to be able to put the call on hold, transfer. So these are now the features that are being driven through the connection into iPECS Cloud. It's just an extension of the cloud platform, giving me all of that kind of basic functionality that enables me to be an extension of the cloud platform. So really, really simple, nice and easy way. If I was just, as I do at the moment, make a lot of outbound calls, I can just select the people from this contact list and I can make calls to them. Likewise now, if I just switch over to my browser and I pop onto the cloud portal, we can go to the call record report. Hopefully some of you are familiar with this, and you can now see the calls that have been made from my iPECS2Teams extension, the call that I've been made, what time it was. I can obviously play that, download it, etc. So it just goes to show how easy it is for this to become an environment within the iPECS cloud proposition. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of how that might work in a really simple form. Let me just give you an indication now of where we are in the process of getting this product available. So first of all, let's have a look at what we need to be able to provide iPECS2Teams. So initially, the way we're going to launch this is a soft phone only. You won't be able to have it included as a multi-device with a physical phone. That will come later on with the 3.6 upgrade we're expecting later in the year, where you'll be able to have a Teams client and a physical phone under the same extension number. So the initial launch is soft phone only. What you're going to need is a Microsoft 365 Business Voice license. You'll also need a relevant cloud license, whether that's a monthly license or a lifetime license. And we're also launching an iPECS2Teams license that you will also need for each of those users. So really simple, few things there that you need to be able to do that. And obviously with the Microsoft 365, the customer will need to engage with the supplier of their Office 365 to make sure that they have that correct licensing if you're not providing that part for them. So we are close to being able to go to a full field trial with end users. We're expecting that to be ready come mid-June, so a couple of weeks away. So please contact us if you've got any customers, opportunities where people have been asking for this, because we're keen to get registrations and people lined up ready to go with this as soon as it's available. And hopefully following a successful trial and a full billing cycle, we'll be able to go to a full launch of iPECS2Teams in mid-July. So we're really, really close. We've been using it ourselves, and a couple of other partners have been also testing it for us. So hopefully within the next week or so, we'll be able to go to that next stage. So short and sweet, but hopefully that gives you a good insight into iPECS2Teams coming really, really shortly.